Hello, everyone. My name is Truktruk. Alongside of me is Flatline and Marblr on production. And tonight, here on teamfortress.tv, we are bringing you ESEA Season 22, Week 5, Froyotech versus In Theory on Koth Product RC8. And Flatline, last night, In Theory coming out with a huge upset, controversial victory over Ronin, and they're looking to make it 2 in a row.
I just love watching Viaduct so much, and after that game last night, I didn't get to watch it myself. I was playing, but I caught the tail end of it, the controversial tail end of it, and In Theory they look so good on this map. I can't wait for this. They're already in the server and everything. They're ready to go. I just want to watch it.
They have 6 players in the server already. They're ready to go. There's no Froyo players in sight. I imagine they're still scrimming for this match, but In Theory, if you didn't catch the game, watch the VOD. In Theory looked very, very strong. I hope they bring it again tonight. They are looking to upset the 2 best teams, not 2 of the best teams, the 2 best teams in North America in a row, and trying to make a huge statement for themselves as a team. Just last night we were discussing, they're struggling to make playoffs. They are in for the 4th seed. If they win this game, it's huge. They ended up winning the game. So what does it mean if they win tonight again?
I don't know. Invite would be turned on its head. Like, especially a team like Froyotech, where they've just been so dominant on this map throughout their entire history, nonetheless. Everyone remembers that game. And I think it was Season 19 finals where Clockwork just rolled over everyone, 82 frags or something ridiculous like that. But they don't have Clockwork anymore. And that's going to be interesting. I cannot wait to see how Froyo adjusts their game plan now they don't have their biggest fragger on this map.
Yeah, Froyotech team is looking a little bit different from last season. They got 4 for Muma, Blaze, Patty, Banny, and Free State this time around. They're sitting very nicely in second place. Actually, I believe they might be in...
I think
they might be in first place now.
Yeah.
After that Ronin loss. Yes, they are in first place after that Ronin loss last night. So Froyotech now in first place, 7-1. They have only 10 rounds against them this entire season. Out of 8 games played, they've lost 10 total rounds, and 5 of those came to Ronin week 1 when they lost on Granary. But historically, this Froyotech team is very strong on product/viaduct Pro, whatever you want to call it. They're good on this map.
Yeah, they're just strikingly good. They have the DM to back it up. Banny's calls are amazing. It's the recipe that they have for every other map, but it just works so well on Viaduct because of how the map is structured and how the flow is. It's Froyotech's map. But In Theory showed last night that it's also their map. I feel like they kind of have a similar setup in how they play, and they're really well suited to playing on Viaduct, especially with the sniping of Corsa. And I've seen Volv pull out sniper a couple times too. He's really good at it. So
I didn't know that.
I've seen him pull out a few times.
We were actually fully expecting Corsa to bust out the sniper last night, but he stayed on scout. He and Van did a lot of work in the 3 rounds that we were able to watch last night. Just to catch you up from last night, if you were unable to watch that cast, In Theory was up 2-1, and Guy's internet just shut off. We delayed the match for an hour, and he was unable to reconnect to the server. Ronin, unable to reschedule the match, took a forfeit loss instead of actually forfeiting In Theory or forcing them to play 5v6 for the duration of the match. So Ronin kind of took one for the team, and In Theory kind of was gifted the game, I guess. But at the end of the day, it seemed like In Theory was going to actually win that game. I would not discount In Theory. I would not discount that win at all for In Theory. Hopefully they can prove it tonight that they deserve last night's win as well as potentially tonight's win.
Yeah, I feel like In Theory definitely showed in the brief amount of time they had that they earned those 2 rounds they got against Ronin, and I feel like it's not a question of could they beat Froyo, it's do they have the tenacity to hold out their level of play for as long as possible on this map. It gets pretty grueling at times, especially if you go to a full 7-round game, 4-3 scoreline. It gets tiring more than most other maps because there's not a lot of stalemates. You don't have a lot of time to catch your breath.
Yeah, it's definitely all about balling up, playing as a team, reacting as a team. This is This map, I would say, heavily favors teams that have been around for a very long time, and the core of this In Theory team has been around for at least a full season. And a very interesting storyline behind In Theory. They're one of my more favorite teams to talk about and watch this season, mainly because despite all of the crap that they've been dealt, the cards they've been dealt, they lost their medic in Nursey 6-7 days before the season started, and then 4-4. They lost him on medic a couple weeks into the season. They had to bring their buddy Trainer back to play medic for him, and 2 weeks in a row, they're playing against their ex-medics. Last night, they played against Nursey, and tonight they're playing against 4-4. So despite all of the garbage that In Theory has had to deal with, they are still in playoffs. If the season were to end today, they'd make playoffs, and they're looking to continue to make statements so far this season.
Yeah, it's really hard to just adapt to those kinds of losses, especially so quick before the season. I'm surprised they even were able to pull out replacements that quickly, especially Trainer, who came out of literally absolutely nowhere. I didn't know he played medic ever before in his entire life, but I don't know, the Scoutmen seem to just be really good at medic, and he's coming out, he's showing that he can be as good as Nursey or 404.
Yeah, he's played very solidly. He hasn't made any crucial mistakes. He hasn't made any big plays or anything, but he's played solidly. A very solid medic, and from my understanding, he's very eager to actually learn the class and play in Invite. He's willing to learn and get better. From what I've heard, he actually was cut from the team last season because he wasn't as interested as the rest of the team to get better, but now it seems like everybody's on the same page for this In Theory team, and it might be the perfect storm, him coming back and having that core player back on your team. And it kind of showed with last night's gameplay. They looked very, very well composed and not intimidated by the top dogs in ESEA-Invite.
Yeah, like Train was on that team for a really long time. I think since they were like open water door in season 16 or something. It was like really a long time ago when they first started playing. And then they blipped off the radar for a while, and then they just came back in full force, and they've been playing together ever since. And I feel like they just have that sort of chemistry built up that Froyo has as well.
Yeah, that's definitely something we shouldn't glaze over. Froyotech, this team has changed over the season, but between this season and last season, we still have Banny, Free State, Muma, and Patty. Blaze and 4-4 are the quote-unquote newcomers to the team. 4-4, one of the top medics in Invite for several seasons now. Blaze taking one season off after playing with Froyotech for several seasons, but Blaze looking very strong and one of the best roamers in North American TF2's history, and continuing his strong suit.
Yeah, especially on Viaduct. He always has these really great inventive bombs that he just syncs up with his team so well. It's a treat to watch him on Viaduct. And you're right, he hasn't aged a day. It doesn't look like he's rusty at all, or if he's not in sync with the new meta or anything. Even though the meta can't change that much in one season until hopefully soon with the quote unquote big update that's behind our backs.
Yeah, unfortunately, it did not actually happen today. Myself, and many other people in the TF2 community were very much expecting the update to drop today. But thankfully, I guess if you're really, really into this specific matchup, which could be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting, and it's not going to get delayed because of the update. We'll just say that. But this matchup, I think it's going to be interesting, Flatline. As we said yesterday, I actually looked throughout the season, and In Theory has played 3 overtime games this season, and unfortunately they lost 2 and won 1, but this team likes to play it close pretty much versus everyone.
Yeah, and I'm ready. I'm ready for the full gauntlet. I mean, I'm ready for those 7 rounds. I'm ready for all that action. I just don't know. I guess In Theory's proved that they're ready for the incredibly long games, but Viaduct's just a different beast.
Yeah, the timer, like, mathematically can't go too much longer than an actual game. I think it can't even go as long as a map like Gravel Pit, or Gravel Pit. What am I talking
Oh, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, that's a blast from the past, like Badlands. It can't go an hour, but it seems like forever, like you mentioned earlier. There's nonstop action. You have to be on point at all times. You can't just screw around and kind of just build a sentry gun or just turtle it out. You have to be on point. You have to be in proper positioning, whether you are aggressing or defending the point.
Yeah, and that I guess that's what I like about casting Vidoc so much is there's no really like long stalemates where you have to kind of be like, oh, and this sentry is going to do all this stuff for this team, and then it dies immediately, and everything you said is just moot. But there are 12 players in the server. Hopefully they'll be ready up soon. You want to throw any predictions out?
I would love to. I want to say... Actually, we are going live right now. We have set up classes, so I'm going to do quick predictions. Quick predictions, Flatline. I'm going to say 4-1 Froyotech. I think they are the best team in the league right now. They take the game very seriously. In theory, looks super strong as well, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up. What do you think, Flatline?
I'm a believer, Kurt. 4-3 in theory. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. We got Saigai and Muma going to be meeting up at this mid early on as the rest of their teams roll out. Both demo men rolling out in opposite directions, actually. No one's taking damage just yet. The mid is still developing. Blaze going in deep very early, virtually untouched. Patty going in deep too. Hits 2 nice rockets on a Trainer, and Trainer's just dancing around trying to stay alive. Unfortunately, 4, in theory, they're getting wiped right now. Can 4-4 live and wipe out in theory?
Yeah, the both double soldier bomb there was kind of interesting, but I mean they originally got nothing done. Like Train was dancing on the rockets wheel, but the problem was everyone was looking at them, and the rest of Froyo just pushed across it really well because there's pretty much only 2 people looking at 4 other players.
Yeah, they were heavily distracted. Those are some clean bombs that both Patty and Blaze kind of jumped over untouched by any scouts, and that's not what you want to see. They did a great job last night versus Mela and Rando. Can they continue it as they are sending in the sacks to try to get that force onto 4-4? 4-4 actually very low health. Can Saigai hit the miracle pipe again? He does not, but he does apply the pressure and force the Uber onto 4-4. They do get the successful sack play.
Yeah, but Train died as well to Banny. I didn't see that, but usually your med didn't spawn when you do a sack play, so I don't know where he would have died. Maybe they were just late on getting buffs. But
I see Trainer's body. He's right in front of his spawn, so Banny must have went super deep.
Ooh, that's bad. Well, in theory, he's moving up here on cliff anyway. Vol going to jump up onto this right cliff, get some spam onto Froyo. They're getting pushed back a little bit. They've least point to them, at least for a little while. Blaze moving in left. Both soldiers for Froyo moving in deep left. They do take down Purple Penguin. Patty in behind. Corsa and Vol are going to go down as well, and this is looking like a bust. Yeah, in theory, he's going to have to move out.
In theory, they're not getting any frags. So look at Froyotech right now. They're posturing up. They're setting up a forward hold. And this only can happen when you dominate the mid fights. You can't really set a forward hold if you're not dominating, and they are. So they have this comfy forward hold, and they're trading frags in theory, spawn.
Yeah, in theory, he's just going to move in here. Train doesn't even have his Uber yet. He eats 2 big stickies from Move, but he is able to pick up the pack at least. Corsa goes down again. Free State 1v1ing Van behind here. Looks like Van's going to lose this one too. Regardless, Free State is distracting them really well, and Froyo is just, they're locking him out again. There's so much time already off the clock here. About to be 2 minutes, and in theory, he hasn't even touched the point yet.
Muma on those, on the loose cannon right now, and they're walking right through that concrete area. Muma doing so much damage from a distance. 4-4 actually forced to use his Uber. Train uses his own on Saigai. Can Saigai do some damage to the Froyo combo? But it looks like they're just edging the point right now. Free State is leading the charge. Actually goes down super early, but Blaze looking to get the nice air shot. But everybody's just falling every which way on In Theory right now.
Yeah, they're looking really discombobulated right now. Froyo's kind of just walking all over him. Blaze gets taken down, but he does trade for Banny. And we're back to basics. In theory, still hasn't touched the point. Course is going to try to move in, edge it a bit, trying to 1v1 Banny at the same time. They do have spawn advantage,
but Muma with that cheeky double sticky onto Corsa takes him down, shooting those donks at Vol. Does a lot of damage, but Saigai pushes across the point, takes down Muma, and Trainer goes down in the backfield to Banny. Patty coming over the top to clean up the rest of the frags. Banny's actually going to clean up his own damage twice there, taking out Van and Purple Penguin. So a nice 3K from Banny.
Of course, is sneaking his way onto the point right now. It's just Banny really in the immediate area, but he does get taken down by Free State coming in, and this looks like it's going to be essentially a perfect round for Froyo.
Yeah, Froyotech coming out and absolutely dominating this round. not a chance in theory had. I want to see Corsa and Van prevent Blaze from getting in deep. I know Blaze is doing those patented high bombs, and it's hard for the scouts to really negate those jumps, but they're going to have to. Blaze is definitely a huge problem getting behind early on in this game.
Yeah, here he goes again, jumping into the right. He goes into concrete with his scout partner Freestay, just trying to spam off Fan. Vol goes down immediately, but oh, Purple Penguin is able to pick up 404. Patty's jumping in. He does get a nice rocket onto Sai, and it looks like in theory he's just going to be content with that med pick.
They need to keep in theory alive, or excuse me, they need to keep Trainer alive. They need to keep their team alive, in fact. And Trainer does get caught out near that health pack area with Froyotech, winning the mid despite losing their medic early on, and the fact that they lost 404 so early is actually going to buy them pretty large Uber advantage. They have 20% advantage. They won't be able to set up a really nice forward hold here. In fact, they're not even going to go for it, as in theory is pushing out without Uber.
Yeah, that was in theory just being really... They didn't know what they were trying to do. They were kiting because they had taken their med out, but at the same time they didn't get out fast enough, and they ended up getting collapsed on. But looks like Corsa is going to start weaving his way onto the point here. Blaze in connector is actually really hurt, but he does take down Purple Penguin, and Van goes down as well. Corsa probably going to get spot out as well. Oh my god, the Froyo flank is just decimating in theory right now.
Yeah, oh my god, they're going so deep. Oh my god, Blaze with a spawn air shot onto Trainer. You don't see that very often. A roamer jumping into the spawn, making a huge play for his team, giving 404 that full Uber advantage, and Patty the only person dead on Froyotech. So look at Blaze, Freestay, and 404 so close on that right side, with Muma and Banny holding down that left side. This forward hold is very strong. Can, in theory, break it. They're going to try doing a four-man sack here. Here they come. Can they force 404? 404 is completely untouched right now.
Man, he's behind on the train. He takes him down again on the four-man. Oh my god. This is murder right now. I don't even know if we can televise this.
Oh my god. Purple Penguin makes the saving grace play, doing a rocket jump with very, very low health, and hitting two nice rockets onto 404, forcing the Uber from the Froyo medic. So Ubers are even up once again, but every single player on this Froyo team is sneaking behind and making plays. Can they push through without their medic going down? And it looks like they're doing just that. Patty does go down early. Purple Penguin gets traded off. Danny is so hurt. Van actually gets two shot down.
Blazes in. Does hit some nice rockets onto Vol. He just got it scot-free again. Nobody was on left watching to make sure that a roamer could come in. Sai busting out the pipes trying to take on the scout, but they're just going to get pushed off. They have no numbers to fight this.
Yeah, Blaze pushing this concrete area. Trainer and Course. Oh no, we have another pause. Hopefully Sai is still online. I'm going to check my Steam friends list, because last time we had a pause and Sai's internet turned off. So is that the case? Is Sai online? Last online 11 minutes ago. Uh-oh.
That might just maybe just be the offline for DOS purposes, or just not wanting to be messaged in the middle of a match because it was 11 minutes ago. I hope that's the case. Honestly, this is a tactical pause. I mean, it's probably a real pause, but at the same time, it's a tactical pause because they're just getting dominated right now. They need to change something, and they need to change it right now.
Yeah, it could be a tactical pause. In fact, we don't see it that often in Invite, and I think teams should utilize it more often if this is the case, because if, as some of you may not know, pauses actually happen 2 minutes in the future. We are on a 2-minute delay for Source Television, which we are watching this game on. So, in theory, may have lost another round in a row without having much cap time on the point. So they might already be rethinking things before halftime happens. And I think for their case and for the match's sake, hopefully that's what they're doing, and no player has crashed out of the server.
Yeah, I do have it from an anonymous source. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That Sai is still in the mumble, so he should still be like connected. I don't think it's an internet problem. At least not for Sai.
All right, cool. Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out how this pans out, because Froyotech is absolutely dominating. If it's not Patty or Blaze getting in behind, it's Free State or Banny, and they're not dealing with the people getting in behind. And the thing is, they're getting behind, but they're getting behind untouched. So they're flanking with like full health or a buff even, and that's very hard to deal with. when that happens on this map, because especially when you're playing against a soldier, when he gets on that flat ground near these choke point areas when you're trying to leave your spawn, it's so easy to do a lot of damage. And here comes Trainer and IT. So we'll find out what that pause is for shortly. But here we go.
Yeah, they're moving up here on this cliff. Vol trying to spearhead this push. The dogs come out immediately, knocking him down. Train's still sitting on... I think he's got his Uber now, but Blaze comes in. He hits a nice air shot, gets the force out of Train. Train with pretty much nobody to pop on. Blaze able to take down Corsa as well. He's still alive, and here comes the Uber, taking down Train immediately. They're just going to collapse onto all of In Theory. Van is in behind. He's getting some shots out of 404, but he should get taken down.
Oh,
he does take down 404. That was meaty. Vol coming in as well, trying to work off his damage. He doesn't get anything else, but that was definitely the saving grace. They have about one more push in them now.
Yeah, and here they come through this left side. Patty going in deep, hits a nice rocket onto Trainer, but doesn't get any frags. Free State goes down trying to clean up Patty's damage, so that's 2 down for Froyo as Purple Penguin and the rest of In Theory cap the point off.
Yeah, this is going to be their second cap, and they definitely need it. They're still about 2.5 minutes behind right now, but this should be a decent chunk of time.
Yeah, and they have decent positioning. They do have Uber advantage, like you mentioned. And here comes Patty jumping off the rock right on top of Trainer, jumping away, trying to...
Oh, Blaze is in behind! Oh! He blasts him right into the stickies of Moomba, and that's going to be a dead medic. 404 is pretty much safe right now. Van coming in, trying to get another lucky shot out of 404. He takes him down again. Oh my god, he's still alive. Finally gets taken down here, but that's... In Theory doesn't have many players to go off of right now.
There's 5 seconds left after Froyo caps, so this could be the round. It should be the round for Froyotech. These coordinated bombs for Patty and Blaze are absolutely impressive. Everybody, including the casters, are looking at Patty, and Blaze just coming in behind after Patty jumps away and gets those easy rockets onto Trainer, and it seems like that's happening so much throughout this game. And hopefully, for In Theory's sake, they can adjust, make the right adjustments to deal with these bombs.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to make them soon. Blaze jumping across again. Patty coming in as well. No, Train's still not down yet. He doesn't have 8 points of damage on him. He's just dancing around everyone on Froyotech. But at the same time, the rest of In Theory is just getting completely collapsed on. They do take down Train as well. It's only Boomer alive, and this is probably going to be an ace.
The saving grace of that mid was 4-4 was taken down. I'm not sure who took him down, but 4-4 did die. He did die early, though, so he's going to have a pretty big Uber advantage. And it looks like they're trying to set up this forward hold as well.
Yeah, so not an ace.
It's looking real strong. Look at this forward hold. Both soldiers pressuring 2 choke points apiece. Here comes Purple Penguin getting launched into the air by Mooma and taken down by Free State. Blaze gets a kill. Free State gets a kill. Everybody on Froyotech is getting kills. Corsa's left alone by himself and just running back to spawn with his medic and demo.
They just have a complete stranglehold on In Theory right now. Blaze is peeking so far in, trying to spam off anyone, just buff those damage stats, might as well. Vol going to start moving in left, but he's probably going to get taken down here. He's just getting spammed super hard. In fact, Blaze just pushing all the way into spawn, trying to take him down. Jeez, this is I don't have words in the dictionary.
This is dominance right now. Froyotech showing that they are the best team in the league currently. The stats are not lying. As far as I can tell, this In Theory team looks like they're getting put in their place right now as Uber gets popped onto Saigai. Saigai actually airshots Blaze. 4-4 pops his Uber onto Patty. Saigai jumping across onto the cliff. So the forward hold is broken and both Ubers are exchanged. Can, In Theory, contest this point? There's so much damage being dealt to the Froyo players, but no frags are being turned just yet, and they're just losing players left and right. So many players in Froyo in the red there.
That was just not focusing a target, which is not usually something you see at this high of level. Everyone was so damaged. If they could have just focused all that damage on 1 or 2 people instead of spreading it out, they definitely could have got enough frags to turn this into a point cap. But here they are, stuck at last again. Vol gonna try to jump into Patty, Blaze, and 404, trying to get something done, but he just gets taken down. Boomer does take down Mooma, but that's about it. And In Theory, he's gonna have to back out again.
Everybody on Froyo is playing so tight right now. Patty and Mooma hitting air shots in that transaction. Saigai pushing up on this China area, getting pressured on by Banny. Saigai's still sitting at a decent stack of health here. pushing forward with his medic and Roamer and Ball. Here comes Ball getting that Uber. Band is getting back into the fight. It looks like the Ubers are exchanged, but Free State is in behind. He actually gets cleaned up, but the pressure is on. Banny's going and he gets piped by Saigai. Can they clean up Banny and start pushing forward? Banny just sitting there next to that shack and gets an arrow from 4-4, goes in, takes down Saigai before he goes down.
Kind of went weird there for a second, but Ubers are pretty much even here. Looks like In Theory might be able to finally pick up on this point. They do take down Muma, and yeah, this should be a...
Alright, I think Flatline is having internet troubles, but Froyotech absolutely dominating these fights. But at the end of the day, In Theory comes out on top. In Theory using that spawn advantage with the point not being capped at the particular moment of the fight. Pushing forward and recapping the point. So Froyotech are finally... The pressure's on them to push back onto this point. They don't have Uber. Trainer does have his Uber, and 4-4 is playing fairly close without his Uber. But the pressure is on. Patty's pushing that right side, getting a frag of his own. Blaze going down on that left side. And Trainer's actually popping on no one right now.
Okay, hi, I'm back. Okay. My internet cut out there for a little bit. You were right. Anyway, it looks like Froyo, they did, In Theory did get the cap, but it looks like Froyo's going to be able to cap it back pretty quick. 404 still sitting at pretty much a full Uber at. Here comes the In Theory repush, but they really don't have any grounds to go on. I mean, there's even numbers, and here comes the Uber from 404, yeah. Ooh, Benny! A nice air pipe on the Uber thing. But Train is pretty much by himself right now, and there's no cap time on the point. They do finally start to get some time on it. Van does take down 404 as well, so that's no heals for Froyo. But Trainer, Train's just been dodging all this like assault on him so well. He does finally get taken down by Patty, but it just looks like the numbers for In Theory aren't going to be able to complete this cap, and this is looking like a 3-0.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the stats now. Froyotech crushing right now, In Theory. I want to see the stats. I want to say Free State and Banny have a metric ton of frags, and they do. Yep. Patty, Free State, and Banny already over 20 frags, 3 rounds into the game, 3 very short rounds. Froyotech with 87 frags compared to In Theory's 35. This is the most dominating performance I've seen out of Froyotech so far this season.
Interestingly, though, Blaze with the highest DPM in the server, he's only going 9-8, but he's just doing so much damage with his bombs that the rest of his team is able to clean up on. Like I said, he's showing, he's flexing his muscles against In Theory, how good he is on this map with just perfectly timed bombs, and etc.
Yeah. We've seen this throughout a lot of the matches. Roamer's just doing so much damage, not dying too much, not actually getting too much frags. But when you look at the scouts' stats, they're cleaning up the frags. That's what Banny and Free State are doing, and everybody on Froyotech is doing such a great job of focusing down targets. They're not making Blaze's damage go to waste, and they're cleaning up the damage. And if you just watch Free State and Banny, they seem to just follow up whichever soldier on their team is more successful with their bomb.
Yeah, they're just great at picking out the targets. The coordination from these soldiers and scouts on Froyo is just unparalleled. And I mean, definitely they've been around for a while. They have the synergy, and In Theory is just not able to keep up. They're getting squashed.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. It's very disappointing to see Froyo dominate. I wouldn't say it's disappointing to see Froyo dominate. That's what they do. They've done it throughout the season, but it's disappointing to see In Theory get smashed pretty hard so far after last night when they looked incredibly strong against Ronin. But I think that kind of shows how good this Froyotech team is, and it's going to be depending. I want to say this game is over. I want to be a realist. I want to say Froyotech's got this. It's already over in my eyes. In Theory is going to have to make so many different adjustments. They're having trouble dealing with the soldiers. They're having trouble dealing with the scouts. They're having trouble dealing with Muma spam with the loose cannon. And they're having trouble with people getting behind. It seems like you can't clean that up all in a halftime period.
I've seen stranger things happen, and I don't think you're definitely right. It's not realistic for In Theory to make this unbelievable comeback, but it's I still want to see it. It'd be amazing.
Of course.
I feel like if they can like realistically understand the problems that are happening to them, and they're in 4th place, they have the ability to definitely adjust on the fly and make huge adjustments. Like in their game against Champ GG, when they were going into halftime, it looked all done for Champ GG. It was a 3-1 half. It was pretty solid, but they came out and they almost took it.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely are capable of doing it, but this match right now is kind of showing me, it's kind of telling, wait, is it live right now?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's not. They're not capturing
the
point or anything.
It's not.
Okay, I just had I blacked out for like a half second there. I just forgot where I was. Anyway, but yeah, this match is showing me that Froyotech is the best team in North America right now. It's not like In Theory got super bad overnight. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same team we saw last night, as far as I can tell. I think Froyotech is the best team in NA, and it looks like it shows. They're a top team, and they're putting a lot of time and effort into the game, and it's showing. It's showing. They seem to be distancing themselves from the pack. And next week we will see the rematch between Froyo and Ronin, and maybe I'll eat my words, but I'm looking to see Froyotech just dominate, to be honest.
I honestly think it doesn't matter what other 5 players Banny is playing with on Viaduct. He's just unbelievably good at this map, and he makes himself look like the best player to ever exist and touch a mouse and load up TF2 with his computer whenever he plays on this map. I don't think this proves Froyo is like far and away the best team at Invite. I think it proves they're far and away the best team on Viaduct, possibly in the entire world.
That is a very rational decision, viewpoint. But I've watched every game Froyotech's played this season, and they just look so strong. They're just the highest tempo team in North America, probably the highest tempo team in the world. And they push off small advantages, and their success rate off of these pushes and their team coordination is just unparalleled to what I've seen this season, or even in the past year of TF2. It's just a treat to watch, and it's kind of unfortunate for other teams because they're just getting pounded so hard. But maybe In Theory can bring it back. I'm not expecting them to. Maybe they can bust out that Corsa sniper. He is very lethal on that sniper class.
I'm surprised I haven't seen the Corsa sniper. I mean, he didn't do it yesterday, but he didn't really have a reason to do it yesterday. It would definitely be something, a bit of a flash in the pan to throw Froyo off their game right now. But we are back going live. Patty immediately just jumps straight across the mid there, bombing back out, but he gave Van a little bit of a heart attack, making him play back a bit more. And now this right side is completely uncovered. Froyo is just sending flank players all throughout.
Look at Patty, he's just completely unseen. Oh my god, he takes down Vol. He's doing so much damage to Corsa and Trainer, and he's not even being dealt with just yet, as Blaze is coming in over the top doing a lot of damage himself. Trainer is still juking though. He might survive, and that is the saving grace of this mid for In Theory. Trainer living despite his team not really dealing with the soldiers very well.
Yeah, that was hard to watch. There was just nobody on right for In Theory, and everyone they sent like 3 players back over there on concrete, and they just got in so far. Trading on the flank here. Purple Penguin actually pushing across. They do take down Blaze and Free State. This might just be enough. They need to cap the point. And yeah, it looks like they're going to cap it back. That's the quickest they've capped it back.
That was a very nice coordinated bomb from Purple Penguin and Ball. They focused down the targets on the right side, took them both down, and just captured the point without Trainer having any pressure on him whatsoever.
Yeah, that was probably the cleanest repush I've seen from In Theory so far. The Froyotech only got 22 seconds off the clock right now, and it's looking to even out for pretty much the first time in this game. The repush coming in from Froyo, though. Oh, Sai hits a nice pipe on the Banny. The Uber does come out. Both Ubers do come out. Van is caught in behind, though, and he's probably going to get taken out. He does take down Muma, though. The Uber is forced to chase him back as well, and this looks like it's going to be a winning push for In Theory.
Wow, nice arrow from Train onto Van, keeping him alive, and Van is using that extra health he got to push forward. Unfortunately, it's outplayed by Free State, as Free State and Banny are pushing forward, focusing down Saigai, taking him down, and here comes Blaze, and Trainer gets ripped out of the sky.
A wall shot there. Yeah, Froyo, they're going to be able to push back now to retake the point, but In Theory's in the lead for the first time this entire game in terms of clock time. They don't have an Uber advantage, they don't have a space advantage, but
unfortunately, when they do lose these fights, they lose them so hard, and it allows Froyo to set up these really, really solid forward holds that take, at very least, a lot of time to break through. And here comes Purple Penguin taking a lot of damage just coming through his spawn area. He's not actually dead just yet, but he's not doing much damage. Van, Train, Ball on this left side. Ball hits a nice shot onto Free State. as they continue to push forward without Uber.
Yeah, Psy and Purple Penguin are down. They just don't really have the spam to do it right now. But in theory, he's pushing in anyway. Van getting a lot of time on this point here. Here comes the bomb from Blaze, though. He pops full up in the sky, hits him with a nice rocket. They do trade at least. But here comes the Uber from Froyo pushing, in theory, back into this cliff. But it really doesn't do anything else besides push them back. And now Train has his full Uber. Purple Penguin going to get caught on the right. Oh, he gets saved by... I don't even know what the scout was that came in and saved him. But
oh my god, can Free State come in behind? Patty comes over the top, forces the Uber. Free State's still stuck in, but they don't really see him. Van finally spots him out. Free State is still alive. Can he get taken down? Free State takes down Van! Oh my god, Free State hitting the meat with a very low health. Just delivering the dominance to the enemy scout and Van. And here comes Blaze through this concrete area. His teammates are on that right side. And Froyotech is looking to recap this middle point.
Yeah, Banny's starting to push across the point. Purple Penguin does trade with Blaze here. The bomb coming across from Patty. It's a nice rocket onto Psy. Another nice rocket, but he gets taken down there. Psy's going to have to recuperate for a little bit, though. He has to get an arrow from Train, who's also very hurt. But the scouts, for in theory, are just pushing across. Oh my god, Van super deep on the move. Takes him down with the help. Of course, actually takes him down with the help of Van. And I could already see a tangible change from in theory. They're just able to flex their muscles. All they really needed was that opening, and they could actually play Viaduct front instead of being stuck in their spawn. And
I suppose too soon these scouts in theory have made the adjustments to deny Patty and Blaze so far this second half. Trainer's movement is incredible, somehow managing to live during that transaction. Blaze getting denied by Corsa. This is so different what we saw last half. Blaze usually getting in so cleanly. Banny actually getting in cleanly with Patty. Patty forcing the Uber, and Banny still in behind. 4-4 uses his own. Free State launching Corsa across the map. Banny and Free State in behind. Banny does go down.
Purple Penguin in behind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Purple Penguin was in behind, causing a little bit of distraction, but the rest of Fro is going to be able to push across relatively easy. Blaze took a lot of damage there, and Sai's going to try to move in off of it, but he does get taken out pretty much immediately by Muma. Van goes down as well. I think in theory definitely needs to they didn't need to back out here. Maybe get a couple frags on the way out, but the train's going to get collapsed on soon if they don't bail.
Yeah, here comes Patty, and Trainer does get out safely. Corsa actually denying that pressure. Blaze actually near the spawn. He's just spamming. He actually might lose his life, and he does.
Not gonna work.
That's going to open the doors for, in theory, to re-push this middle point with even Ubers as they are coming through this concrete area. Muma spamming those loose cannonballs onto Corsa, doing a lot of damage to a lot of players. Saigai trapping off Fanny as this ragdoll flies into the skybox. Ubers are exchanged right now on this middle point.
It looks like Froyotech's definitely winning this Uber fight right now. Just cleaning up everyone on, in theory, that isn't involved in the Uber. Trainer's going to go down. It looks like Sai's going to go down as well. Purple Penguin is able to kill 404 there on the back end, at least. But that's going to be pretty much the only saving grace of that push. That looks so good for in theory in the beginning, but they just weren't able to save anyone in that crazy Uber fight. Yeah,
despite in theory, or excuse me, despite Froyotech still winning this round, in the lead this round, in theory looks like a well-adjusted team. If they can manage to win this round, this could be a game on our hands. Blaze sneaking in on this right side concrete area, takes down Trainer. Corsa does take down Patty in the backfield, but Blaze did so much damage before he went down.
Sai just hit the nastiest two pipes I think I've ever seen. The in-theory scouts here, they're going to be able to at least recap the point, or they tried to deny it a little bit for spawns, but it's pretty much only Van and Corsa right now, and they're split up as well. Van just trying to get anything done right now, but it's overtime, and Froyo looks like they're going to cap this out. This is looking like a 4-0.
Yeah. It looked like in theory made the adjustments to at least contest against this Froyotech team, but unfortunately those first three rounds went by so quickly. They probably wish they could have it back, because I am definitely going to eat my words. In theory bringing it back and looking quite strong, but Froyotech continuing their dominance.
Yeah, too late of an adjustment there from in theory. They definitely knew what they did wrong. They fixed it, but new problems arose and they just couldn't clutch it out in time. So that's a 4-0. It was a convincing 3-0 in the first half, but in theory definitely looked a lot better at the end.
Yeah, Froyotech with 8,000 more damage than in theory. Blaze still top damaging, so a roamer top damaging product. Very impressive performance coming from Blaze, and everyone on Froyotech in theory I think the standout player was actually Trainer. His team was having a trouble keeping him alive from those flanks and bombs from the soldiers. But at the same time, he seemed to live way longer than you'd expect with scouts and soldiers all up in his face the entire game. So in theory, making the adjustments, but I think Trainer had a very solid game.
Yeah, Train definitely looked really strong with just his movement and everything. The bombs from Froyo just didn't phase him. There would be 3 people trying to shoot him, and he'd just be mashing A and D back and forth. It didn't even look like it was crazy good movement, but Froyo was just caught off guard by it, and he survived for a lot longer than he ever had the rights to. So, I mean, they definitely looked good at points. Even during that 3-0 half, there were moments where they had flashes of brilliance, but they just weren't able to put anything together. And what they changed mostly in that second half was just they were able to string a bunch of little opportunities into one big opportunity and cap the point for a long time, but they just couldn't pull it out at the end. But despite it being a 4-0, I definitely think in theory looked really strong at the end. And if they had just been able to figure out what they were doing wrong earlier and have time to apply it, then they definitely would have made it a closer game.
I 100% agree. These teams will actually likely be meeting each other in playoffs. In theory, is looking, they're not looking. They are in the playoff race lead between them, Champ GG and EVL. If the season were to end tonight, even with the loss, they'd still be in playoffs. So, in theory, with a fairly strong record so far this season, they're looking to surpass their 8-8 record from last season and make that 4th place playoff spot. And They definitely deserve it so far this season. I would agree with. I would attest to that.
Yeah, they are in 4th place right now, but it looks like EVL is 3-0 over Sinful Gaming, and if they can pull it out, they'll definitely go above in theory on the ranks just because of round 4. Okay. So, yeah, in theory, definitely still. I feel like they could be a 4th place or a 3rd place team, and they're currently right there, but it's not going to be easy. There's so many teams that are vying for those 4th and even 3rd place spots.
Yeah, in theory is definitely a team to watch. Froyotech, obviously, as well, a very interesting team to watch, just how high tempo they play. And speaking of which, next week, a week from today, next Thursday, July 7th, we have Froyotech versus Ronin. So the top 2 teams in North America butt heads once again. Last time they battled, Froyotech lost 5-4 on Granary. This time around, it's going to be on Process. So a map that mostly everybody loves. I think it's the fan favorite. I think this is my favorite map for sure. So that should be a fun game to watch. We will be bringing that to you as well as more coverage next week. But I think for this week, that's about it. We will be bringing you more TF2 action throughout the rest of the season. And yeah, that's about it for tonight. A kind of disappointing game.
Yeah. I believed.
All right, I guess that's a wrap. So for tonight, it's been me, truktruk. Alongside of me was Flatline and Marblr on production. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We'll see you probably Monday. I'll get the matches scheduled and ready to go. So check out teamfortress.tv. I'll have those scheduled for you guys in the next few days.